All right, welcome everyone to the next episode of Emprise Consulting Corner. I have the man, the myth, the legend, Michael Loscavio, as we like to call him, Dr. Michael. So welcome, Michael. I'll let you give yourself a 30-second, 10-minute introduction. And
I think we all know it's going to be 10 minutes.
Right. Of anyone who knows you, this might be the whole episode.
Thanks for having me, buddy. I miss seeing your beautiful face with all the lack of travel and stuff going on this year. So anybody that knows or doesn't know me, I'm in payment processing in the collections and payday loan and consumer finance space for the past 11 years or so. And I'm currently vice president at REPAY, and that's about it. I'm not going to talk about all my other stuff that I do because then we'll for 10 minutes. So right. That's the Michael Loscavio representing today, anyway.
Right.
I don't know about you, but when you said we were going to be meeting at about noon, I thought it was probably time we started drinking.
Noon on a Saturday.
It's definitely not Wednesday in the middle. Oh, you got the orange slice? Good.
You and the cherry, yeah.
I got the cherry in my old fashioned. I don't have the orange slice.
Yeah, I got the Woodford Reserve soaked cherry, and I'm using some Rittenhouse 100 proof bourbon.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah, so thanks for coming. As you can see, we're everyone watching. We're a friendly bunch of guys. Miss seeing each other, hanging out, whatever event we're in. But I thought it'd be good since it is inauguration day, and I should have this up hopefully in the next couple days of what's in store for collections 2021. Really, of what your thoughts are, and kind of where you're seeing it go with the new administration, and just some ideas. Doesn't have to be fully in depth, but it's around more of the payment processing, or just kind of high level, what you're thinking, what you're seeing.
Yeah, well, I think it's there's a lot of mystery to it, right? We don't know what we've got ahead. You and I being primarily collections guys, right? We're very focused and have always been supportive of the collections industry. We know it hasn't been the Democratic Party hasn't been the friendliest to our industry and our vertical, and so I think all of us kind of have a little bit of a fear as to what the next 4 years hold. I think anything starts to rear its head, it will be happening in the next 18 months, and I think all of us remember kind of 2013 when. Our last Democratic president was in, and the CFPB straight attack on our industry, and a lot of people were scrambling for banking. Merchant processing accounts are getting moved and shoveled and shifted, and you're going to be with a new bank today, and having to call all of our customers. I know myself and our largest competitor remember getting the phone call the same day saying, "Yeah, you got 400 merchants that you need to go move." Right. We had to do it, and we had 30 days to do it. And so I think that's always in the back of our mind as something that could possibly affect us. Obviously, regulations. Although that's never going to change. Every single year we have more regulations. We fight. It doesn't matter the administration there. But that's kind of what I'm hoping to avoid. And
yeah, it'd be nice. If some of the leadership would come. I know they have in the past, here and there, but come to some of whether it's the ACA or some of the events to actually meet the business owners and understand what they're trying to do. Because everybody knows, here collection agency or this industry, and it's kind of a bruise on financial services when it's really just trying to help people get out of that. There are those shady companies, but what the ACA or organizations stand for, I think it's, you and I know, it's a bunch of good people.
Yeah, and you know, there's going to be a bad apple in any industry you go to. And so you can't just, you know, blanket that statement to our whole industry, because 99.9% of all the companies and people I've met have just been good people, hardworking Americans, small business owners. And yeah, I think the small business owners as a whole, and this is not just collection industry, I think all small business owners are kind of a little fearful of this administration and need some time to let it set in and see how to navigate those waters in general. I mean, we just had one of the hardest small business years in the history of the world. And so
Right.
I'm trying to recover this year. And, you know, and I'm talking not just collections, dry cleaners and restaurant owners and all, like right down to whatever you can think of. So it'll be real interesting to see everyone's reaction. I think everyone's kind of tippy-toeing around, walking on eggshells, waiting to see what happens.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think there'll be a big push. Basically, everyone was made to go digital or go more remote than before, but I think there'll be maybe a bigger push in looking more into the cybersecurity and data analytics and the privacy in the cloud and just investing in that. I heard some great stories of transitions over the last year of probably one of the biggest agencies in the world. You know, they moved 30,000 collectors in 10 days to remote. And then you hear other who had 50 collectors and it took them 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know my background of being a mutual fund guy.
Yeah.
I work at Vanguard, the fund company. And they had 26,000 employees. And within 7 days, they were at home. And you're like, that's good for you guys for having that ability to pivot so quickly.
Yeah. No, I heard, I was listening to something the other day of, you know, people have their almost disaster recovery plans,
Yeah,
you know, for this, and they realize it kind of all went to crap because no one thought part of disaster recovery would be everybody working remotely. It was backup systems and backup internet and, you know, redundancy and all that. It wasn't, hey, we need to get everybody remote. And then we also need to think about people's families and how this is affecting them, and, you know, monitoring, because you gotta have to have some sort of monitoring and follow up with that many people working from home. So it's, you know, you can't really prepare for kind of the unpreparable, it seems.
You will be a perfect person to ask this question to. Let's face it, collection softwares, no offense, because I'm friends with a lot of them, but they are behind the times to a lot of other industries, right? We are, we have a lot of MS-DOS based programs.
Right.
Are you seeing a push in the software side, some of the collection softwares, to move more cloud-based and increase their technology?
Yep. Yeah. It's something that we've been saying since the beginning, not for, you know, pandemic reasons, but just automation and, you know, I know clouds, I think overly used, kind of like big data back in that, but yeah, not host things on premise. So we're having a lot more conversations with clients and prospects that I think were affected. They've heard our message before, but now they need to take action on it. It was actually something I was reading today, knowing we were going to talk, and I saw, I think it was like a Forbes article of, you know, one of the biggest barriers for banks and credit unions is just the innovation of their core system. Like you said, they have all this mainframe software. It works. It's worked for the last 60 years, but nobody can support it.
Yeah.
And to replace it is too painful and slow and expensive. But, you know, you have the flip side. You know, you have to, because if you don't, what happens, you know, once it's completely obsolete and, you know, tape backups maybe not work if that's how you're backing it up.
Floppy disk backup, they're running out of space.
Right. It is a slow process, but I think with the right, you know, partner, whether it's us or whoever else, you know, there's a planning process that you go through, and maybe it is a 2-year, maybe it's a 5-year. You don't just flip a switch and, you know, say everything's converted in 6 months, but, you know, you have to start the conversation, start the process, have a phased approach, you know, have your new system live with X amount of clients while you're still running on your old system. There's a whole process there, but I think if you've never been through it and you've worked at a bank or for 30 years on the same system, I could definitely see it be scary to make that move when this has been your whole life and your whole career.
So I've obviously, you and I have worked together in the past. I like to use the Emprise boys whenever possible because I know you guys knock it out of the park. Most of what we've done is creating custom things, right? So I've never really had to utilize you guys for a software switch of one of my clients. Does that make up a good chunk of your guys' business?
System conversions, yeah. I don't know percentage wise. Most of the work that we're doing is building those custom APIs, building that real-time integration, client onboarding, but we probably do 8 to 10 to maybe even 12 system conversions a year. So that could be from soup to nuts, where we're extracting all the data out of, we'll say, your Ontario FACS system, manipulating it and getting it loaded into your or your DM system, or we can just sit in the middle and someone extracts the data out and we manipulate it and then they load it into the system. But it's a decent amount of our business, and I think the conversations will probably get heavier and heavier, thinking of acquisitions as well. That's when we get pulled in, where hey, my core system is system A, and I just acquired 3 companies that are on 3 different systems.
Yeah, I can see that happening a lot. We have a mutual client that keeps doing that, just keeps buying clients.
Right, because from a staffing perspective, I don't want 4 different IT groups supporting 4 different systems. I want one group if it's possible.
Yeah, that makes sense. I got a follow-up question to that is, sayings come from somewhere. Every saying came from somewhere, and you find out the origin of it.
Right.
Where do you think soup to nuts came from? And I've got some really funny scenarios in my head of where it came from.
I don't know.
I mean,
what's your guess?
Well, I thought an old Italian man spilled some gazpacho on his lap once, and that's where the soup to nuts came from. But right. I don't know. I have no clue.
Maybe let me just tell you right now, because this is what I do. It came from a full course dinner served in the 1800s, which typically started with a soup course and ended with a port served with nuts.
Soup to nuts, and there it is.
Man,
I was way off.
Who said you don't learn anything on these discussions?
And that's probably the learning point of the day for everyone.
I know there's a million of those that I can think of, none right now, but that would be a good episode of Emprise After Dark, or Matt and Michael After Dark of let's get our list of 50 of those. And who knows what was even real? I didn't even see what website that came from. I was thinking maybe a mechanic that ate soup, and then he went back from his lunch and then tightened those nuts and bolts. And
he's soup and nuts. I think you're way off. Clearly, your explanation sounds, the first one off the internet sounds to be the best. I still like the old Italian man eating his gazpacho, but
it could be. I mean, you never know. That could be number 2, but the internet's always undefeated. So
yeah, well, if it's on the internet, it's probably true.
Exactly. So what else do you think's happening? Anything that you can think of?
I've been really busy this first 20 days of the year. I think a lot of it is just, clients start the new year and they've got their projects in mind. They want to tackle them and get them over with. It's the same as me trying to talk to clients on December 1st about moving their processing over to me to save some money. And they're like, yeah, we'll talk about that next year. It's pretty much after November 15th, everything is, we'll talk next year. So now it's next year, and now I just got slammed with a bunch of stuff. I do think there's going to be a greater push this year to diversify everything, backup plans. You know, one of the things that if you've been in the collections world, and I know you guys don't have to deal with this, but this is my world. If you've been in the collections business long enough, you've been shut down by your bank. Whether you did anything wrong or not, or the bank got bought by another bank, or the bank processed for 1,000 collection agencies and one of them did something wrong, and so the other 999 of them pay the price for it, banks shut down. And if you've never been shut down, then you have been in the industry long enough. So the beauty of being at REPAY is we have our own banks that nobody else uses. You know, we're publicly traded. We were the largest processor in the collections and consumer finance space in the world. So with that comes a little bit of clout and a little bit of security. We have 5 banks, 3 of which have been asking us to send us all the collections business in the world. They don't mind the debt buying portion of it. They don't mind the third party. They don't mind any of that. And it's been really nice. So I've had a steady stream of people calling me this year already in anticipation of the admin coming in to even set up backup accounts. And I'm like, I'm okay with that. You know, if you want to use us for 2% of your payments that come in, you know, just your online payments or just the ones that call in to negotiate or whatever it is, we're cool with that. We're absolutely cool with that because we know someday something will happen and we'll be standing there and say, okay, well, we're ready for all of it now. So that's been nice. So I've been busy because I think an administration change here, especially party switch,
right.
pretty good for business, for the people that are in the know or the people that are being cautious. So
yeah, I think too that with diversifying, you know, I'm thinking from the technology standpoint, I'm hoping companies, you know, agencies and just companies in general will just take a step back and evaluate more from the business operation side, like we were talking, you know, what didn't naturally translate in your plan of disaster recovery. If you had I don't think many people had a pandemic plan, but I know we got a bunch of emails a month into this, like, hey, our clients are asking for, or our vendors are asking for, what's your pandemic plan? So it was something everyone pretty much had to create on the fly, I would think. But for the most part, I think everyone was on the same page of what that looked like.
We got a lot of those summer-ish time last year. Hey, can you send me your pandemic plan? We fired it up. We actually had it ready. You know, it was primarily the large companies, you know, the guys that are, you know, $500 million worth and stuff.
Right.
They're always the ones that call and ask for all the nuanced stuff. But you know, a couple smaller ones that you're like, oh, look at you asking for the stuff that some monster guys are asking for. I was like, you guys are on it. Cool. So we had it ready, and I don't know. The pandemic plan. It's a 4-page form that we wrote, and you're like, okay.
Right.
All right.
We're all working from home.
Thanks, Liverpool team, for putting that together. Step 1, work from home.
Stay home until we tell you to.
I will tell you, companies like the LiveVoxes of the world, I think, got a pretty good uplift from this. Yeah, you know, hey, if you're going to have your people at home and you're going to want to accept a payment over the phone, then you're going to switch them to this, you know, and I've been pretty happy with those boys over there in terms of their product coming and doing what they say it's going to do and stuff. So they stepped in and handled some business as well for clients that sent their 200 collectors home or 80 collectors from their work from home. So, but back to your point from 15 and a half minutes ago, I don't know how I would ever.
About old fashioned or what?
But you're right. I think it'll be super interesting to see the commercial rental space and the commercial lots that are going to be vacant when people are like, hey, look, these people are being pretty darn efficient. Right. We're not dropping 20 grand a month on a space for all of our collectors or whatever, our sales guys or our Matt Scotts of the world.
Yeah.
God, you take up so much space and cost the company so much money. Mark must be happy.
I'm going to cut this part out with whatever you're saying.
No, Mark's probably happy you're not around him every day. I'm just saying. I know, because he texted me last night and said, hey, whatever you do, could you keep us in company?
Cancel this meeting, please.
And that's the end of our meeting today, guys.
Yeah, no, we still have a handful of people that go in the whole 6 foot, wear a mask, just because their setup at home isn't ideal, whether they have kids and wives running around and it's a little bit louder. Because I know there's now a lot of people, two husband, wife working from home, trying to do school at home, so it's pretty noisy. So we still have our space, and we'll see what that looks like in the future. I don't know if with vaccines and all that people are gonna be going back in. We've been thriving and hiring and busier than really we've ever been, and it's great to be a part of it. And also I know I was a little reluctant with the working from home, everybody, because we've never done it. I think that's probably just the natural thought of some people, but for me it was, but it seemed to work out perfect. We use Teams for meetings and videos and sharing, and so you get to see everyone. Yeah, obviously, we don't do our lunches or anything like that together, but for the most part, I think it's been pretty good.
Unlike you, I'm a people person. So that's the only thing I miss is I thrive around people. I like people. I talk a little bit. My mom says I came out talking. I enjoy being the energy of people, and that's the one thing missing. That kind of tough for me. I mean, it's not so much that I work out of an office. I think we all know you're way more efficient not being in an office, not getting stopped by every coworker every 15 minutes. It's the events, the ACAs and the RMAs, and no offense to ACA or RMA people for this statement, but I want it in person, man. These virtual events, it just doesn't cut it for me, and I don't think it cuts it for most people. I think we all go to it and we're like, oh, that's not the same. Where's the over the next day? Where's the, I spent way too much money on dinner last night tab that you're looking at thinking really bad thoughts about having to submit. And you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get away with this one, but.
Yeah, no, it's definitely for the extroverts. That's my thought, is the talking to people, and there is that difference of us talking here or us in person and giving our hugs and giving each other, some more crap that we probably should, but it's always fun to do that. And maybe the virtual events, we've done a couple, but maybe it helps the introverted people, so you don't feel obligated to talk to people or interact. But yeah, I agree. I like the in-person events for sure. I'm hoping, like the ones you said, and maybe Ontario's Power Up, and just going on our road shows to go see clients. Like we came out and saw you and some clients last year. That's always fun.
So good. And maybe those clients happen to be in California in the summer, and it just so happens that that's great. My clients in Minnesota probably see you guys around May.
Yeah.
You guys around May. Yeah, hey, would you like to come out? I'm like, not October through April, I don't. Duluth, huh? Great.
I have a big project to talk to you about in July.
Yeah, correct. But somehow the Florida guys, the Nashville guys, you name insert cool city name here, and you're ready to go.
Right. Well, you don't have to deal with cold weather, right? Your cold weather's like 40 degrees.
Yeah, I mean, it's 70 right now here in Scottsdale. And I put a jacket on this morning because it was like 62, but I took it off. I mean, I didn't, what is it, 4 there?
No, we're like 24.
24. Is there a difference at that point?
There is, though. There is, because it's weather. That's 27. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, 4 hurts. 27, you're like, okay, I can be outside for 15 seconds.
Yeah. No, it's. I have clients like who, they put a jacket on when we're going to lunch and it's 60 out and I'm sweating in a button-down shirt and pants. Like, can we go inside where there's air conditioning, please? But it's just the Midwest, and if you're a real man or a woman or not, I guess is kind of what it boils.
And I'm not. When it comes to cold weather, I'm not. A guy who grew up in New York and Philly and Boston, don't need it. Right. I don't need it. I thought out here, and I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm not either. If I just act like I am for these last 5 seconds.
This coming from a guy who runs an entire business out of Alaska. Right.
Yeah.
I don't give it.
You are, right? Which you only go in the summer, right?
I only go back in the summer, and just made it my primary residence. Alaska is now officially my primary residence.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll definitely need to come visit.
Oh man.
What's the COVID rules in Alaska?
Well, they've had 7 cases, so they were really strict. It was you had to be tested before you got on the plane, and then you had to show your test results when you got off the plane. And we flew up there, and I didn't have my test results, and we flew from Phoenix to Seattle. And as soon as we landed in Seattle, my test results came in. I'm like, woo!
Jeez.
I was like, that was close. And then it's an hour and a half flight from Seattle to Juneau. And we landed. We had one guy who didn't have his results yet that was there on our fishing trip. So they quick swabbed him, let us go after 5 minutes.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
They said, did you get tested? He goes, yes. They said, go ahead. I was like, what?
That's all I could have done. It's like, yes.
Yeah. They're probably kids that they're paying $14 an hour that are like, I don't care.
Right.
Just go.
Don't get me sick.
Hey, just don't get us sick. I know Alaska's been pretty good, man. It's 30,000 people in Juneau. And I guess if they started spreading because of 10 people, great, but no cases, no nothing, no lowest of the low. People in Alaska, they social distance by 600 yards. So
right,
yeah,
right, yeah. The population's so low anyway. They're probably not seeing each other too much.
Yeah, and as long as you don't let cruise ships come in, which they didn't, then nothing.
Right. I heard about that. No cruise ships anywhere.
No cruise ships anywhere. So for those watching this podcast that don't know, I run a cruise ship business up in Alaska, which is why I'm on here trying to promote. No, I'm just kidding.
You promote whatever you want.
I need to sell more payment processing deals in the collections world because all my boats are wrapped in plastic because they're not doing a damn thing up in Alaska.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you anyone wants to reach out to you, they can obviously. We both know a lot of people, so hit me up if it's prospects or my current clients or whoever. If you have any conversation of what they can save money wise with you, because you just need what was it like? Provide, is it 3 months statement?
Yeah, it's your basic standard. Anybody who's looking has done it a million times or knows what it's like. Your last 3 months of statements, your bank statements, and usually the rest is negotiable from there. Your licenses, show us your licenses, and we're pretty good. That's pretty good after that.
Yeah, I know we've sent a handful of people, and you were able to save, if not all of them, 5 of the 6 Whether they switched or not, I don't know, since we just have our friendly relationship, so that's perfectly fine if they switch or don't switch. But
after you send it,
if 0 of them switch, great. But
yeah.
If you're looking to save some money, then
I
would say the conversation.
It probably is an 85-90% close rate, because they're just like, I'm just over. I mean, you figure their largest costs are software, letter vending, which will be interesting to see what happens to that world. But I've got a lot of friends in that world, and they do very well. And letter vending, I hear, is a pain to move from to switch letter vendors. So letter vending's expensive, software's expensive, and then payments. I mean, there's only so much we can do before you're like, yeah, but Visa and MasterCard charge, 1.2 of that or 1.6 of that, depending on the card you take. That's just Visa and MasterCard. We have no say in that. So, saving these guys anything they can do to buy more debt, hire more people, pay you guys to improve the process on their software is always one of our big promotional items of, hey, you guys need to fix some stuff, spend this extra money. Spend it to improve your collections rate. So yeah, I appreciate the plug there.
Hey, bring some value. That's what I always say. It's kind of the goal with this, and hopefully people get something out of it.
And even if they don't switch over processing to me, or they just give me the backup, I at least give them the leg to stand on to get their processing costs down to.
Yeah, good negotiation tool.
Right. You don't need to be spending. I mean, you've seen some of the bills of these guys, $250,000 a month in payment processing fees and stuff. You're like, man, a lot of the big guys don't bat an eye at it because they're just like, that's what it is. And I'm like, I know, but still.
Right.
I remember talking to one lady who was on a West Coast software. I'll leave it at that. And I sent her over $340,000 a year in savings. And she didn't move. She said, oh, okay, thank you. I was like, oh my God, she doesn't care. I was like, that's crazy. But
yeah, I would think that'd make any CEO, CFO get a little excited and at least want to know, okay, don't pull any, don't do the bait and switch on me. Yeah, where's that from? Where's the bait and switch?
Oh, let's Google it. The old.
All right. Would be a perfect way to end this puppy.
Yeah, buddy.
What's your contact info if people want to reach out to you? Just do anything like LinkedIn or anything?
Yeah, LinkedIn, whatever. I still use the easiest one is Michael at PaidSuite, SUITE, suite.com, because it links to Loscavio at REPAY.com and all of that. But trying to spell my last name, I'm like, I hate having my last name in my email because everyone's like, how do you spell that? How do you spell that?
That's how my last one with Chris Mauser calls him Chris Mazer. So it was I think how I started it. Okay, so let's see here. Keep on talking while I find this.
Don't read. Do we want to take our guess at where bait and switch came from?
Yeah, you go ahead while it's like a few sentences.
Being a fishing guy, being an Alaska fishing guy, I want to say it was when we go fishing up there, it's insane fishing. You bait the hook, switch to the next one. So we'll have 6 lines in the water, and they all have bites within 15 seconds because it's Alaska, and it's the best halibut fishing in the game. So that's where I think bait and switch came from. I'm way off.
Yeah, I'm thinking everyone, if anyone gets this far in the video, probably think we're simple-minded people. Because as I read them, like, oh yeah, that's what it means. It's basically when you go to merchants to buy something, they bait with a low price, whatever, and then they switch it with, hey, you should upgrade to this size TV.
The used car dealership.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, I think we would have all guessed that's what it was. I was trying to, it all depends. Did the saying come about in the 1600s, like soup to nuts? If so, it has a whole different meaning. So I guess, like the spelling bees when they're like country of origin.
Right.
Can you use it in a sentence? Can you, right? If I would have done that 3 century it was created, can you use it in a sentence?
I'll share you off air what I found another definition, so I can keep my job. Any final departing words?
No. Can we do this once a week? Because man, I like my excuse to drink with you at noon. Not at noon. It's at noon.
Hey, yeah, we can do it. We can do it whenever. We just got to line up some ideas, or at least one topic, so we.
All right. Stay on target.
All right. Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Gold Leader. I appreciate you. I'm glad to see your face, man. I can't wait to see you out in Scottsdale. I mean, spring training's coming up in 6 weeks.
Yeah. Well, we should talk about. I'll stop this. We can talk about some potential deal engaged with, and having an excuse to come out there.
Yeah, buddy. Let's do it.
Thanks. If anyone else wants to be a part of this fun adventure, hit me up on LinkedIn, and I'll be posting this shortly. Thank you. Have a good one.